Hi everyone, welcome to the Understanding Digital Customer of Insurance panel as part of Istanbul Fintech Week. In the first part of the panel, we will talk with dear Ellen Theis, who is an internationally acclaimed customer experience architect and also the owner of Shalima Ventures. Hi Ellen, welcome to our session. Thank you very much for joining us. It's very good to see you after so many years.
Yes, indeed, Arden. Thank you for having me. It's been a long time. But I'm looking forward to this.
Yes. So today we are going to talk about how to build a sustainable customer experience in insurance. But to set the stage a bit, maybe we can talk about a couple of mega trends, as they call it, what's happening around the world. So now we are experiencing significant changes, especially in the technology area, which is affecting the way we do things in our lives, anything in our lives. And on top of that, we are also trying to learn how to live with a challenging COVID environment, which is also enforcing total new ways of doing businesses, communicating, working together. And maybe more importantly, we are living in an era of self-importance. So every single person expects to be approached in a personal way, in a different way. So as the experience architect, how does all these change the customer expectation from brands in terms of strategies or products and services or ways of communication?
Okay, so how does it change expectations? I mean, there's some good and some bad news. I think the good news is that, especially in insurances, the customer expectations of 10 years ago are still valid today, and they'll still be valid 10 years from now. I mean, I remember doing research with yourself involved at some point where we looked at what our customers looking for, and what they were looking for is easy transactions, easy to understand contracts, easy payment of claims, etc., but also that personal touch, some caring, a relationship, personalized advice. I mean, that was relevant back then, that's relevant now, and I guess that will be relevant for quite a while. But what's changing is that now, and this is not just COVID, because COVID just accelerated that. Now, a lot of that is happening digitally. And the digital domain basically means that people have gotten used to doing business, to living in a certain way, which means that if I now have these expectations of easy or of predictive or whatever, I won't compare insurance company A to insurance company B anymore. I'll compare it to Amazon. I'll compare it to Netflix or to Spotify that can predict the music that I want before I even know that I want it. And basically, if I then compare that to an experience where I have to explain everything I want and I don't get it exactly the way I want it, etc., I get irritated. So the expectations are kind of staying the same, but the bar is going up. Yeah, and it's not just on the digital front, because that's where you mentioned self-important. That's where I, as a customer, think I'm the most important person on the planet. I don't just want that digitally. I also want the human touch that I used to have. Yeah, so I also want that empathy. I want the caring. I want somebody to talk to and say, oh, you have water damage, oh, poor you. I want to feel that, not be a number. And I think this is kind of where both the opportunity and the challenge lies in insurances, because what we need to do is we need to balance those two domains. We need to balance, we need to offer like total technology as if we were Amazon, as if we were Netflix. Everything has to be seamless, easy, predictive, etc. But at the same time, we have to offer that human touch. ABN AMRO in the Netherlands did that brilliantly. They started in 2017 already, but they were looking at closing a number of their branches, and they saw that more and more people were moving online. So they went to work like everybody else with a digital transformation to make everything as efficient as possible. And they built this whole beautiful universe where you could actually do everything that you needed to do as a customer yourself. But then they found that customers were missing that human touch. I mean, in banking, in insurance, there are moments that you want to speak to a human. If you're getting a mortgage, or if you have a complex insurance product, then you want to discuss that with someone. And what they introduced was video banking, which already before COVID became their fastest growing channel. And what it basically meant is that they basically said, you can do everything you want online, but if you want to talk to a human, we give you two options. Option one is you make an appointment in the branch and in 2-3 days you can talk to someone. Or you click this button and somebody appears on your screen, maybe with a couple of hours delay, depending on the system, but effectively you can speak to someone today. Now, what they found is that the moment that people were offered that choice, they started doing more online themselves, because they found that, you know, there was a helpline, there was a human helpline. And also they started attracting people who would normally want to go to branches, that they actually said, let's make online appointments. And what they're finding now in COVID is that that channel is actually about 90%, 90, of all their complex banking transactions. Yeah, so the easy stuff goes through other channels, but this 90%, that's actually massive in my view, in which they combine that, they really empower the customer in a way by combining what do you want to do yourself and where do you want help? And more importantly, also, if you're talking to me, I'm somebody who loves to click and do everything themselves. But if you talk to my father or my wife, they say, give me a person, you know, I want to speak to a human. Both of us are happy. Yeah. And I think that is kind of the change that we're going to have to be able to navigate. So the needs are the same, but the bar, the level at which we need to play is going to go up, and is going to require some creativity on combining that human and that technology touch, while at the same time accepting that all of us are different and that we cannot do the traditional digital transformation, which is actually, let's be honest, about efficiency and about making the customer do work for us, etc.
It is more internal.
Yeah, that's an internal thing. It's like, you know, how can we cut costs and simplify processes? But actually look at the experience from the customer perspective, still get those efficiencies. Yeah, there's no reason not to get them. But at the same time, also look at how can we make this feel good? How can we be the Netflix of insurance at the same time as that broker down the street I used to go and walk to? And how can I combine these two things? Am I making sense?
Yeah, it makes great sense. Well, you know, when you start looking at insurance from this point of view, from this lens, I think we have a lot to do, and we need to catch up, because there are two things that is very, very important about what you said. Like before, maybe until last 5 years, in more less developed markets like Turkey, even recently, we always think that customers are going to compare an insurance product to an insurance product. Actually, now they're comparing insurance experience to whatever experience, and they're expecting the same standard. So this is one of the mind shifts that we need to introduce into our businesses as insurers. And the second is, maybe it's a little bit, we are blinding ourselves about digitalization. We are saying like, okay, everything is going to be digital and customers are like doing everything themselves, and they will be grateful to do that because they want to do it. But actually they still want human touch to be involved. So digitalization and human service are not exclusive to each other. So we need to think about both of them together and maybe reshape whatever we offer. I'm not talking about coverage. I'm not talking about policy. It's an offer. It's a value offer. Actually, we need to reformulate that value offer accordingly. And it is quite hard work. And on top of that, we are going to do this in a very, very small number of frequency industry. Like we're talking to customer in a very, very small number of cases, learning about their lives in a very, very small data set. We're only asking about what make their car is to make a car insurance, but we don't know anything else about what they are doing in their lives with that car or whatever they need. So we are just touching customers a couple of times over 10 years when the claims happen, when the moment of truth happens. So we're in that sense selling a promise, which is not tangible, which is not visible. Maybe if you print it, it is visible on a paper. But so how do you think around the world or in Europe, insurers are catching up with this changing world, this changing mind shift? Are they catching up? Actually, that's the question.
I think there's some very interesting stuff going on, and we'll have to see how things develop. Yeah, because but I think the market, I can see the market split into two parts. One, the traditional insurance offerings, yeah, which is effectively, I give you money once a year or once a month, and if I have a problem, I oversimplify, but if I have a problem, you give me money. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's oversimplified, but that's what
that's insurance. That's insurance.
That's insurance. What I'm seeing is new providers coming up. And actually, by the way, most of the fintech and insurtech innovations I see are about making that process more efficient or a little bit more fun or whatever. Yeah. But
exactly.
the interesting stuff that I'm seeing is the new providers who are basically saying, instead of giving you the money to solve the problem yourself, I'm going to solve the problem for you. So a friend of mine is running a startup in travel insurance, where they basically, I mean, you know, this type of insurance where if your plane is late, you get some money, and you know, you can pay for your hotel and a dinner and clothing and all that sort of stuff. Now, normally, you as a customer, you have to go and get that money yourself. Yeah, so you have to incur the costs, and then you have to do all the administration, and then you hope they pay you. What they're doing is they're flipping that model, and they're saying, listen, we can track if a flight is late. We know that up front. So they'll just reach out to you and say, Erdem, your flight's going to be late. Do you want us to book you a hotel? It's already done. It's paid for. Yeah, and breakfast is included. It's all fine. Or do you want a new flight? That's an extra service which achieves two things. I mean, it's not for everybody, because there are customers who are going to say, no, just give me the money and I can buy myself a new ticket or whatever and have some fun. But for clients who basically say, take care of it for me, it's a relief. It does also create some extra margin opportunities for the insurer, because you're only going to book in a hotel where you've got a good deal. So, you know, it basically gets some extra margin. But the most important thing is that if you were mentioning only a few moments of truth, during the times that all the flights are on time, they basically offer you an app as well, which helps your travel become easier. So they become your travel partner all the way through. And you can take that thinking. I mean, I've seen life insurance company looking at, instead of giving you money at a certain age, can we give you care? Yeah, again, can we take care of you, solve your problem rather than give you money? And I think the market is going to be splitting into customers who still want the old model. Yeah, because there's actually, I mean, if I have water damage, you know, and I have a friend down the road who can, you know, who's a little bit handy, I may say, give me money and, you know, we'll arrange it. But I can also be, I mean, I would be that kind of customer. I've got water damage. Can you magically make a contractor appear, make it all go away? Again, giving an incentive to stay in touch between those moments of truth. Because if you're responsible for my water, then suddenly you're going to want to come in and check as an insurance company whether I'm taking care of my house, which is an opportunity for the relationship building. And I see these two models kind of emerging. The second one comes with some challenges because, you know, there is things like promising certain services 10 years into the future in a high inflation country. Might be tricky, but also there's also business opportunities. And I think I'm seeing a lot of experimentation in that front. And I actually see a market emerging where insurers are going to solve the problem for you, rather than just give you the money to solve it yourself. And then there's going to be a second category. And I think every insurance company should probably explore both models, because they have both types of customers, and kind of see where that ends up.
Well, that is actually a really good tip, actually, for insurers to think about, because, you know, what we always think about is like something happens, and to cover that, customers are going to need money. So here's your money, just fix it yourself. But actually, the second step is, why do they need that money for? And to solve that thing is maybe at the long term, by the way, even cheaper than paying that money for yourself as well. And it is building a huge customer experience that people are going to stick with you and maybe offer you to friends, because you are now the magician who's making away all that water damage. So, well, what I understand from the session is people are asking insurers to become magicians, and we have to become magicians if insurance is going to to stay serving customers.
Get a little wand.
Yes. So thank you very much, Alan. It's been a very inspiring talk. Thank you for your time. Thank you joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now we are going to move on with the second part of the panel with Bilal Türkmen from Türkiye Sigorta to see how this is evolving in Turkey.
In the second part of our panel, we have Bilal Türkmen from Türkiye Sigorta. Bilal Bey, welcome. Hello, how are you? I'm well, thank you. Thank you very much for allocating your time and being a guest on our panel at Istanbul Fintech Week. In the first part, we talked about the trends that change customer approach in the world, and in the lives being always easy. We said it's getting more hard to be accessible. And for insurers, and what are your observations on the change of customer behavior? Thank you very much. That chat was very enjoyable, and it was vision broadening. There are many developments that are happening which affect Turkey and affect the world. For instance, the pandemic and natural disasters which come with climate change. The pandemic is going to live our lives maybe, but its impact will be here to stay, because with the pandemic people have changed their routine and they have been forced to change their routine. They have to remain at home more, and they had to change their choices, their preferences, and we can see this in the figures. In e-commerce, there is increase by 100%. Of course, in such time periods, things that you imagine will never happen to you may actually happen. So it also triggers the emotion of being prepared, and insurance is fed by this. What will happen in the future? My health, my security, my employment status, all of these increase the tendency to save. Its reflection on insurance, has it been as much as we expected? Not really at the level. But for instance, in life insurance, as you know, there is a lot of loan connected work, and we see that loans are becoming more digital. And in terms of life insurance, we see more premiums, more customers. But in non-life, it's not the same. Maybe it's special to Turkey. We have a distribution channel situation in which we don't see its reflection right away. But such impact should not only be looked at a year's period. In the longer run, we will see more impact, I believe. This change has also has been more apparent in vision and in approach in terms of digital. For instance, the progress that would be made in 5 years was made in only 1 year, and this was an important development. As Alan mentioned during his speech, the customer is the same customer. The expectations of the customer have not changed dramatically. Customers always want to feel special, but the new time period, new rules, new customers, and the conditions of competition have changed. Customers, when they have an experience somewhere, they want to replicate it in another company. This is the thing that changed things. That's not an exaggeration to say, because insurance companies are not only competing against the other insurance companies. On the digital realm, customers research more. They are more careful about their budget, and they want to reach faster and more affordable options. So insurance companies have to position correctly. At the first part of the panel, there was another thing that you mentioned that I found interesting. What am I going to insure? What is the insurance needs of my customer? That's a good question, a simple question, but the beauty is in its answer, because there is no single answer. The customer is complex, its requirements and needs are complex, and their expectations during a claim are complex. So if our customers are special, we can not only put products and services on the shelf, and we cannot continue existing in the new world with such shelf products. In order to answer that question, well, we have to know the customer better. As the insurance in the industry, do we know the customer well, or is our business model streamlined for this? This is the question that should be answered. Correct. One of the trends that we observe in general is that customer experience relating to different needs is more integrated. In the past, we used to buy a car, then we would call our agency for the insurance for that car, but now when we procure goods and services, all the needs relating to that, we want them to be offered right away and high quality and in real time. There is such a customer expectation change going on right now, not only in insurance, but about any service that we procure. Of course, in my opinion, we were at a great disadvantage, but I think this is also changing. The disadvantage was this: our customer interaction is once a year, and when we renew their policies, when there is damage, we insure, which happens maybe 3 to 4 years. And maybe once or twice a year with health insurance, or 2 to 3 times, or in personal pension. In order to look at their funds, customers come a few times, but it's usually one-way communication. But we are not communicating like GSM operators, banks, retailers. We do not look at their needs on a daily basis and respond on a daily basis as an industry. But should we become that way, or should we cooperate with those industries to offer better or more relevant value proposals to the client? This is our insurance product. It's on the shelf. This is the distribution channel. Go sell. Maybe by driving ourselves away from that mentality, we should make value proposals to the customer to improve their daily lives. Maybe this is a role that the insurance will have to play in the future. So when it comes to this interaction, strengthening it and responding better to customer needs, what do you think or do? Actually, you summarized the main problems of insurance industry quite well. Maybe I can add a couple points only. As you know, insurance is a very abstract product. At the end of the day, we are just giving a contract to our customer. And of course, it's a difficult product to understand. We're just making them a promise. Exactly, we're making them a promise only. If anything, should anything happen to you, just call me. Inside the insurance policy, of course, there are many coverages, there are explanations, there are details. And to be open, none of us really read the document when we borrow a loan or when we get an insurance policy. It's long and multiple pages. So there is this comprehension problem for insurance, and it's a abstract product by nature. So we have to first make it concrete, because something abstract does not really have a space in the minds of the customer. So how to make it more concrete? Maybe this is one of the things that we have to address. First of all, Türkiye Sigorta and Türk Hayat Retirement are two structures which combine 6 different companies. Our roof brand is Türkiye Insurance, and there is one management at the top level, because the customer does not only want insurance. There's only one customer. It's the shared customer. It's the customer of the bank and retail, and there's only one Erdem or just one Bilal. So to explain in a very simple example, what do we do? For instance, we always go to the same hairdresser. Why? Because that hairdresser knows how we like our hair, or what we like, or they know our political opinion. They know what we like chatting about, so we have a better experience. So it's important to know the customer in the insurance model, in the abstract model. To what extent can you know the customer as we generate a policy? We don't ask questions. For instance, if we're insuring the car, we ask about the car, we ask about their home, and we can extend the list. Because we're not in the lives of our customers, we're only offering a policy which tries to understand the risk and to insure and to it's an agreement on how damages could be compensated for, but it's not all about the customer. What they're trying to insure is something valuable for them, their home, their car, and they fear losing the value. So when it comes to their valuable asset, there are many steps that they take. And the insurance company is only insurance, and our expertise is calculating risk, offering a premium accordingly, and to share it with the reinsurance market. And it will continue being so, but if the customer has a budget in an increasing competition environment, the road to the wallet goes through the customer's heart. For that reason, we have to offer services which create value for the customer. If insurance company organization is not enough for that, maybe cooperation within the ecosystem could be helpful to create value, to improve the services and products that they use in their lives. Important steps are being taken by Türkiye Sigorta, because in the non-life part, as you have also said, there is less frequency of communication with the customer, but in retirement, they have certain savings. They come frequently to some digital platforms. We have 12 million customers, and we use this strength, this customer base, in order to, in auto, finance, health, home, we, together with those who offer those services, we try to develop models and to bring those to the customers. This is the philosophical aspect, but the main point is the technological architecture. How you take data, how you store data, or which data is important. That is important, or data strategy is important, the correct architecture or integration is significant, or multi-channel, having the digital footprint of the customer at the agency, call center, bank, being able to follow that footstep everywhere is important. And the nature of insurance in our country, we have agencies. With agencies and banks, our agencies are different. They're the touch points of our customers, and every agency can be different. So for our stakeholders, we try to have a more tailored approach to them as our target, and soon, with a nice launch, we're going to announce this to the industry, and we're excited. I know the details a bit, so I'm enthusiastic about it as well. As insurers, we have started understanding that the value proposition that the customer expects cannot be met with a single insurance company. Maybe it is possible, but it's not really logical. And it's not sustainable, yes, but on the other hand, all these values can be presented with certain partnerships, with cooperations in an ecosystem which can meet the needs of the customer. And in such ecosystems, in non-insurance ecosystem have started forming already. So we can offer more beneficial things to our customers and always be present in their lives, and we hope that we can achieve this in the future. Bilal, thank you very much for joining us. This was very enjoyable, and I hope the audience have enjoyed it as well. Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been enjoyable for me as well. See you later.